Okay, folks, this is a really timely thing we're going to be photocopying. I've been talking about it through some of the demos I've done today, and I'm really disappointed, but at the same time, it's necessary. We have to do it. It's no other way, folks. However much I am disheartened. I am very disheartened, but I know it has to happen. It's for our own survival. We're still in colour. I was going to go black and white. We're going to go black and white. We're going to start with black and white. We've got to save that magenta toner for when we need the colour. So we'll just set it up now, and we're just going to do it in black and white because it's mostly black and white. We don't want the colour from the text. Anyway, what is it? The Guardian Weekly, Return to the Source. The Origins of COVID-19 by Laura Spinney, or whatever. It's all about this COVID-19, and yes, we're in lockdown. Sydney and much of other parts of New South Wales are now in lockdown because of this illness, this disease, because a limo driver transmitted it. He started the chain reaction, and now this is what we get. It's very difficult. This is a very difficult strain that we have. It's what's known as Delta. You've probably heard it all over the news. It's Delta, and Delta's deadly. She's very spreadable. She's extremely contagious, and the only way we can control her, I like to call it give it a fucking gender. The only way to control Delta is to fucking have a lockdown. But in the long term, we've got to get vaccinated, folks. Make no mistake, you need to get vaxxed, folks. I know there's been side effects. I know people have, on rare occasions, have died from the AstraZeneca jab, but what can we do? We can't just go on playing games like this with this stupid disease. So we have to get vaxxed, folks. I can't see any other way that it's going to work. I can't see it, folks. I actually think we're going to take out that 104%. I think that's just ruining I'm just going to put it on 100. But we got to vax this thing out of existence somehow, folks. We can't rely on suppression. We can't rely on masks and lockdowns. We got to fucking cooperate as a populace and get this disease vaxxed out of existence if we can, as much as we can. Now that looks really quite nice for a fucking stylised COVID image. But we just have to somehow bite the bullet. It's probably more dangerous getting in a car than it is to get vaccinated, folks. I do think that. Folks. I don't know what you guys think. I know you guys are terrified. You're not ready to die. It's not time for you to die yet. You got things you want to do and people you want to meet. You got a social life, and you got all sorts of shit riding on this life. And I can see it, folks. I used to be afraid of death, to be honest, folks. I know what it's like to fear death. I've become very fortunate that I find out that I'm no longer afraid of death. So if I have to die tomorrow, folks, I'm ready. I'm not afraid. If I have to die, that's it. I'm gone. Well, that's okay. I know I'm going to a better place, folks. And everyone's got to reckon with death. They've got to fucking fight it. Not fight it, but they've got to fucking fight the fear. I used to fear it. Now, I feared death acutely for more than 22 years. And I found out I wasted most of my life fearing it. So I know that that's what this fear is. But COVID kills. Look at India, folks. Look at India. Look at what's happened to them. Lots of people dying and oxygen supplies running out of hospitals and shit. It's really not good. Now that looks interesting. Not quite what I'm after. But basically, we can't become like India. We can't allow ourselves to end up in their fucking similar predicament that they are. I haven't heard them much on the news lately, and I intentionally switched off the television last night. I didn't think there was anything more really useful for me to see, so I just left it off. I didn't want to watch it. I go mad. I find the things that they air really piss me off. I really struggle to deal with watching that shit. But I do find out about COVID through mostly other sources like social media, like YouTube, for example. I'll often go and look things up on YouTube. If I need an update on this COVID shit, I'll normally turn to YouTube or Facebook. Actually, not so much Facebook, mostly YouTube or whatever else they have. Google. I think Google has some. Oh, I've forgotten, folks. I can't think off the top of my head. But the Delta strain is extremely contagious and it's very difficult to contain. And that's why that's why the authorities took the initiative and decided to put us into a lockdown, because there's no other way we're going to stop this condition from spreading. And we have to fucking fight it. And there's no other way. And I know the lockdown isn't good, isn't a fun thing, but it has to happen, folks. So just take that into account. Try to obey what the authorities talk about. Like when you watch your TV and they tell you to do this or do that, or not to do this or not to do that, just listen to them, folks. Now, I'm not getting a really good result with this. I don't know if we're going to do something different. That looks really interesting. The colours are breaking up. I actually think maybe we could make this into a marble piece, like we often do with things that don't always work out just through one. We'll just use this as a marble piece. But basically we have to just listen to the authorities and try our fucking best to obey them and just do the fucking, we have to do it, folks. We have to fucking do this. We can't become like India. And if you can get vaccinated, because vaccination is the only long-term solution we have to kill off this disease, to kill it, or to at least minimise it. We do need to deal with it. Now that looks really colourful. I'm just interested in that little bit here. We're going to stretch it, maybe make it 400% job. But basically we can't keep on simply suppressing this illness. So the vaccination is an important piece of the puzzle in trying to kill off, or should I say, reduce the incidence of this condition, because I don't think corona is going to go totally, but at least it'll become a rare disease, and that'll be good if it becomes rare or uncommon. And if we just pull together as a human race and try to listen to what you have to do and what you have not to do. Yeah, that looks interesting, that. I think maybe we could move it across and maybe stretch it further. I don't know if I like it. I'm just going to see which side is it. That's that side, I think. But yeah, I do see vaccination as the only long-term solution to this. And the vaccination people have worked very hard to produce these discoveries that we need in order to fight this condition and to fight it off, hopefully for good. Wondering where we're going to make this piece look. Don't know. But basically we have no choice but to try to get in and get vaccinated. I actually see something here. Maybe I could cut that in like that. I don't know, folks. I'm going to go back to 100. I'm going to do some more work on it, some more marbling. I don't think it's ready yet. I think we're going to use that. But this is basically, we have to work together as a human race. Put down our differences and try our best to just bite the bullet and get vaccinated. Yeah, that looks interesting. Still not quite what I'm after. Looks nothing like COVID now, I must say. I'm going to use this one. But yeah, the Delta strain is indeed a problem, and it'll be. Oh, I'm in Melbourne. Had recently went into lockdown due to the Delta strain, and fortunately for them, they came out. They managed to come out of it. I don't know how we're going to fare, but basically they went into lockdown a lot faster, I do believe, if I'm correct. But yeah. It's very hard to know when to call for a lockdown and when to just ease it off, because it's really, a lockdown isn't something you do on a whim. You know, they have to think about it, and they do. Now I think this part might look good, stretched. But basically, they can't just do it on a whim, but basically they've thought about it because the disease has just gotten so rampant and so uncontrolled that they've had to do this, however much we all hate it, including me. I fucking hate lockdown, folks. I don't even like the words lockdown. It makes me think of COVID. It's a COVID word. It's a buzzword for COVID in my mind. I was really worried about it, folks. I really don't like my life disrupted. I like routine. I like to have routine in my life. I'm a routine sort of a person. I don't like things interrupting my routine. So maybe we move it across a bit. This is a real difficult one, folks. Now the replenished toner has come up again, which I hate, but that looks better. We're going to have to ward it off with an open and close thing. That'll hopefully get us through this last prolongated demo. But basically that looks really quite nice. But basically we have to just bite the bullet, and I do hope that we will vaccinate this disease out of existence, or close enough to being out of existence. Yeah, this one's really a difficult piece we're working with. We're going to use that there. I'm going to move it across. I'm going to try and make this toner last, hopefully. We're nearly finished, hopefully. Our demo set for this weekend. But basically, yeah, we have to get in and get vaccinated. How many times do I have to say it? But basically, we don't want 100. I think we want... Oh, fuck, I'm just getting shaky, folks. Like, this lockdown's going to go for 2 weeks, folks, so it's going to be hard for me to get stuff to demo with, but that looks really quite interesting. I think it's a bit too elongated. I do think maybe shorter, but basically, yeah, I'm going to have trouble procuring materials to demo with, and I'm hoping that I have got some interesting items that I'm going to use if I can get it. If I can get the toner cartridges tomorrow, if the lockdown hasn't affected the availability of my photocopier supplies. Hopefully not. Fingers crossed, folks, that I can still get toner tomorrow delivered to my door. Now that looks better. That looks a lot more interesting. We've got that lovely swishy bit there. I'm just wondering where the centre of this job is going to be. This is going to be very colourful from something that is mostly black and white, which is really interesting. And to think it came from something to do with COVID-19. I do have other plans for demos if I can get the toner. If I can get some toner tomorrow, I'll be right, and I'll be able to perform a couple of weeks worth of demos with stuff I've found, stuff in my home, like pictures that I've made, paintings that I experimented with for a while back, face masks, not the COVID type, but the party masks. So I've got an idea of what I've got plans that if I can just get the toner, I should be able to go through and do some really good lockdown demo work. So I have to try and get the toner first and see how it happens, how it flows. But I feel it's not as bad as I thought going into lockdown. I was really nervous about it, thinking shit. But if I can extract some really good demos out of it, we've got to see the positive side. So folks, we've got to use our downtime and we've got to think positive, folks. Try to think positive. That's easy for me to say, but I don't always think positive. I know I must, but I don't always. So don't think don't let me blow sunshine up your ass, because I struggle with negativity. So it's not just you, folks. But anyway, that looks a bit minimalist, but it looks nice. I think now we can call this demo quits.